So why do we focus on automation? Why is this so important to me? Real quick history. 14, kicked out of my parents' house, went to a rehab in Minnesota, got kicked out of there, went to a rehab in Louisiana, was there for 6 months, ran away, got caught, picked up by my counselor. They found us at a truck stop, brought us back. We were hitchhiking, trying to hitchhike back up to Massachusetts. I don't even know why we were going to Massachusetts, because the girl that I was with was from Massachusetts, and in my 14-year-old head, or 15 I think at that time, my mind said, all right, if we can just get to Massachusetts, this girl's ex-boyfriend will be totally cool with me squatting with them. This was where my head was thinking. Got kicked out of that place and I ended up in a boot camp, this like reform school for fuck up kids. A really terrible place in Georgia. It was run by like Delta Force, Army Rangers, bunch of like unhappy people. I was stuck there for 2 years. I ran away on Christmas, got lost in the woods, picked up by the sheriff, shackled, brought to the jail, brought back to this place. Right before my 17th birthday, I run away again, and this time I make it. And I live on a street with this girl that I knew from this boot camp that I was at in Georgia. I was hitchhiking back and forth from Providence to Birmingham, all over the country, stealing books. I got caught stealing there. The only reason they couldn't really arrest me is because I didn't have an ID on me, and the guy was just so confused about my story. So this was kind of like my childhood. The first time I actually got a job was when I ended up in Massachusetts, in Worcester, and I met some kid who let me basically be his assistant, and we were painting auto body shops and stuff like that. So that was my first job, painting an auto body shop. I worked all day. I think he cut me like $40 or $60 or something like that. And I was like, man, this is going to be really hard. I didn't have working papers, so that's why I was spare changing and stealing and yeah, just getting really kind of clever, all sorts of life hacks that would keep me going. Went down to Miami, got this place in Little Haiti, lived there for about 6 months, give or take. I did door-to-door sales in Opelika, in a suit that didn't even fit me. I couldn't get a job at all. Then finally, we make it to Boulder, Colorado, get an apartment there. I quickly got a job at Starwood Hotels and Resorts, marketing timeshare, like setting up basically appointment setting timeshare appointments for Sheraton. I became one of their best salespeople. I went from having no money to making $45 to $50 an hour when I was about like 18 or 19 years old. For me, that was like the most money in the entire world. This goes on for until I turned 23, 24. I ended up back in New York, got a job at a restaurant and started producing theater. I just like could not figure out what to do or how I was going to make any money. No support system, so I was kind of like trying to figure everything out on my own. And this is kind of where automation comes into play. Because there was no support system, I was trying to figure out like what's the most I could do by myself. So already in my mind, I was obsessed with the idea of somehow automating things. The first time I kind of automated things was manual. I was like an actor, unsuccessful actor, I should say. I set up this automation essentially where every single Friday I would print out 100 headshots and resumes and I would send them to every single casting director, agent, and manager in the country. My thought was I'm going to try to do this until I have sent everybody a headshot at least 50 times. Every single Friday, I would go to the post office and just drop off like 100 different envelopes. I would get crazy colored envelopes, bright blue with crazy paper, crazy headshots, anything to get people's attention. I end up running this music agency, one of the COOs of William Morris back in the day. He asked me to be his personal music agent. I woke up the next morning, I met with my first client that he set me up with. They wanted me to put them on tour in Europe. I wake up and I start navigating through German websites, Finnish websites, trying to figure out like where's the contact button. That word means contact in German. I click that, look for the word that means talent buyer. I put together a list of like 10,000 emails. This took me months. Sent out an email blast with my best pitch. You know, look, I'm trying to get started. This client, here's why you should book them. Here's their music. This big email automation that I had set up enabled me to put together a $100,000 tour for them within 3 weeks. Now, turns out a $100,000 tour is not a lot of money. I thought I was going to be a millionaire. Man, I'm going to be rich. Biggest agent in the world. Yeah, it turns out like they fired me because that is like no money whatsoever to go on this big tour in Europe. But that was like the second time where I was like, okay, automation. Just put together the data and then automate it. Put the work in the front and then the back end is so much easier. And now I can just keep blasting all of these talent buyers with new clients, which I did. And I ended up building a music agency with like 30, 40 clients. Then fast forward to the time where I built this like music promotions company, doing the same exact thing. Kept building my email list bigger and bigger bigger and bigger and setting up these like automations to basically get jobs for my clients. I went out to Los Angeles and got this job at a PR firm. Basically, the guy was like, you don't know anything about PR, why would I hire you? And I was like, I've got this whole system. I'm going to come in there and get all of your clients PR because I know exactly how to reach out to 1 million people all at once using this automation system that I put together. And what ended up happening was I got a subscription to Cision, which is like the PR software. It's like their database, exported all the contacts, put in like this entire email sequence. I had this whole system and I became one of the top publicists. It became such a good publicist that I quit that. I built up an entire PR agency. This is what really kind of made me realize I can do a lot by myself with the right automation system. I had at that point 11 clients, each paying me between $2,000 to $5,000 a month, and it was just me. So I was making good money. What ended up happening, the second I discovered Facebook advertising, I had put together a show, a midnight burlesque show in Hollywood called Carpe Noctis. I was using all of the methods I had for emailing, getting publicity, and all that stuff. And then Facebook advertising kind of became this big thing. And I started messing around with that after somebody showed me how to do it. And then I realized, wow, I can put together a system so that I generate the leads on Facebook and then follow up with everybody through this email automation, right? So that's kind of like where this kind of all started. And then Infusionsoft came out with all of these kind of different logic sequences that you could do. When I discovered ActiveCampaign, that was when I really started diving into it. And then ManyChat came out. When I discovered ManyChat, which is basically a chatbot software for Instagram and Facebook, I put together, with the help of a couple people, a Design Your Dream Backyard campaign. And we used that for a company called Best in Backyards. And we put together $1 million in revenue with like $20,000 in ad spend because we were able to get everybody. We gamified the lead acquisition process. And then we created this insane chatbot, insane at the time. Now it's like so antiquated, you would never want to do it, right? That would allow people to design their own backyard. That was when my eyes were wide open. It was like, okay, this is how one person or one company can generate 4,000 leads and make $1 million in less than a year. Once I really started learning how to put together workflows, which are basically mini algorithms and all of that, using SMS and email and ringless voicemails and logic and all this stuff, then I started kind of diving into databases, how to store information, how to get it back out. And now like all of the emails and SMS and voicemail drops and all this stuff are being replaced with basically, I mean, the same kind of delivery. All of the copywriting that we got really good at, I mean, now it's basically being generated by AI with the right prompts, right? You used to copyright the actual messages. Now you're using copywriting to write the actual prompts. Everything is just changing very, very quickly. But the main idea here is that the reason why we do what we do is that automation was the single reason, the single tool that enabled me to get to my goals faster than I ever could have imagined. Automation to me is the #1 tool to get to where you want to go 20 times faster than you could go on your own. And for this reason, because goals are so important to me, automation has become my life because I love coming up with systems that you can use to jump over all of the parts that really are not enjoyable. Because life is short, we want to spend it doing only the things that we absolutely love. And so that's why I love automation. You push one domino down and 7,000 things happen afterwards. So I just wanted to share a little backstory about why we do what we do and why I think automation is so important. So that is it for now. I shall see you later. Bye.